This always is the #1 question. What should you be doing with your money with all this news happening? We have some tips from our market panel. Scott Martin, we're bringing him in, Managing Director of Investments at Astor Asset Management, and Yu-Dee Chang, President and Chief Trader at Ace Investment Strategists. Gentlemen, I'm going to tune out the Fed because they didn't make a decision and they gave a very lukewarm, nay, anemic assessment of the economy, yet the market is up 57 points. Yu-Dee, do you still put money into equities right now, even though some of our panelists feel there's a bond bubble?
Well, Liz, if you think about it, I think so. However, I don't think it's one of these, yeah, it's definitely a bias going higher type of thing. I still believe easier said than done is a buy low, sell high type of market. And you do have to rotate from sector to sectors. You can't just follow several issues and say, hey, these are the good buy for the long term. I'm just going to believe in the economy and the market, thus buy into it. You do have to rotate. Get in, get out.
But Scott, it is nice to believe in the dollar. We now have some assurance that the dollar, at least for the next 6 months anyway, and perhaps through the rest of the year, is on relatively solid footing, no?
I think so, David. I mean, the dollar to me still looks like the prettiest girl at the dance. And I mean, look no further than Europe, even the slowdown in China that we talked about a couple weeks ago. So I'll tell you what, I mean, David, I think the dollar belongs in portfolios here still, as you mentioned, because it's a safe haven and it's just different from stocks. And if you want the dollar, you can buy the UUP ETF.
UUP. You also like a couple of other ETFs, Scott, and one of them is that SPDR, actually, that involves minerals and some of the metals. Tell me what you're thinking about here with the XLE.
Right, Lizzie. You know, I've been hedging my portfolio for the last year and a half with gold and silver, right? But now we can start talking about maybe a little more equity exposure like Yu-Dee talked about with the companies that actually get this stuff out of the ground, right? So you can buy an ETF that has the metals and mining companies in it and participate in some equity upside.
And Yu-Dee, talk about basic metals. I mean, there are ways to play that in terms of IXN, technology that's working. Talk about some of your plays that believe in the growth of this sector.
Yeah, I do believe in the base metals, especially that's related to China. I especially believe that. I've been to China actually quite recently. If you just go there and take a look, you look at inland provinces, they look over to Shanghai and Beijing and says, you know what, we want what they have. So whether we have slower economy, faster growing economy, they are going to grow over there. So a lot of different base of material, whether it's countries or companies supporting China, I do like many of the one you talked about. Also, I think overall market speaking, we keep talking about this, maybe individual stock-wise, they are going to move up and down for that matter. But overall market speaking, we just simply don't believe over the near term it's going to make a substantial movement sustainable to the upside or downside. So we actually sometimes like to straddle the market as an alternative strategy.
Are you guys optimistic? Scott, you first.
Liz, I am. I mean, I'm optimistic from the standpoint of, like Yu-Dee said, I don't think we're going to get a big drop. I think, though, that the market looks pretty range-bound here, at least till the end of July. And then we have to look at the economic data, right? And I'll tell you guys, the worry for me is that these job numbers, once the census workers go away, I mean, God knows when that's going to be, it seems like. But you know what? When the job numbers come back to real numbers, are they going to be good or bad? And they don't look great yet.
Yu-Dee?
Yeah, the funny thing is, I guess my answer to the question is that we're not negative. We're not necessarily positive. To me, it's more and more this economy looks like a so-called a cup and a handle type of recovery. It's just that, unfortunately, this cup is very, very shallow.
I heard, Yu-Dee, that's also called a square root recovery. You know, everybody's got the V-shaped W.
And another analogy, it's better than a stick in the eye. That's about the best you can say for it right now. Gentlemen, thank you very much. We were talking about oil before. It is closing down pretty significantly down.